Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this week's Productive Agent Podcast. My name is Tony Ruiz. I'm the founder and host of the Productive Agent Podcast and Facebook group. Today, I'm joined by another top producer in the industry here in San Antonio. Please welcome Vilma Pineda.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining me.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm excited. Vilma is crushing the game of real estate. I can't wait to share her story with you guys. She's a two-time icon, 2023, 2024 PT50 award winner, NAREP Top 10, specifically number 8.
Number 8.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a team lead of V-International Realty Group, which is like exploding overnight. So congratulations on all of your accomplishments.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very cool. So Vilma, let's start. I always like to start with a backstory a little bit. You know, tell us where you're from, where'd you go to school, what'd you do before getting into the real estate game?
Got it. Well, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, Southgate to be exact. I was raised by a single mother. She worked all the time, so I had to grow up pretty quickly. So I actually got into real estate when I was 16. Uh-huh. I started working down the street from my home in Linwood. It's a big plaza over there. And there was a mortgage company, DBA, real estate as well. It was called Monster Mortgage, DBA Score Properties. So at 16 years old, they hired me as the receptionist. Okay. So that's kind of my introduction to the real estate, and actually my first real job.
Yeah. I was going to say at 16, you know, I remember like working at HEB, and I worked at Hollister, but you were like jumping into being around the mortgage industry. Right. How did you get turned on to that? Like, I mean, most 16-year-olds aren't going, I think I want to go work at the mortgage company.
Well, like I said, I did grow up with a single mother, and she hustled. She worked 2 jobs, and we moved, from home to home, and we're renting, and I wanted pets, and I couldn't in the apartments. So she started investing in real estate, so she became really good friends with the loan officer there, and, they just pushed her to buy her first home, and she did, and then she upgraded, and then she bought a triplex, and then, she was just growing up, like just moving on. And she didn't really have any education, and she just worked a regular job, and she was doing better than most of her friends. So I knew that I wanted to do real estate. And actually, one of my very first transactions was when my mother bought a 8-apartment complex. Wow. And the city, right about a year later, the city decided to build a school there. And so they said that they had to destroy it to build a school for under eminent domain. Now my mother didn't speak any English, didn't understand any of the forms, any of the legal stuff, and I was 12 years old at that time. Jeez. And that was my very first involvement with the city, just trying to help her translate. Yeah. And so that was my very first encounter. So every time she was looking at homes, I was there with her, previewing. So I always had that interest in real estate, and like I said, that specific Monster Mortgage Score Properties, DBA, was right down the street from my home. Okay. And I just kind of went in and interviewed, and yes, I was 16, but I've grew up really, really fast, and the owner there really liked me, and he just gave me a shot. I think I started with like $7 an hour or something crazy like that. In California at that time, it was nothing. Yeah. But as a receptionist, I started getting other family members and my mom's friends interested in refinances and purchasing, but I couldn't even sell anything. So I would refer it to the agents there, and I would just kind of pay attention to everything the loan officers were doing. Yeah. And that's kind of how it grew. But that was in 2006, 2007, 2008. So that's probably why they hired a 16-year-old, because that's all they could afford. Okay. Yeah. All the banks were closing. Yeah. All the banks were closing. So it was fun to, come in, and I started doing really good when everybody was shutting their doors. I remember having to call like a lot of the lenders, like, do you still offer this program? Do you still offer that? Or the bank statement, all the stated income stuff, all of that was just disappearing. Wow. But to me, it was the beginning of my career. So to me, I was excited because I was doing good, but everyone else was closing doors. So I remember buying a Denali. It was a brand new Denali at that time. And, Southgate, if you are familiar with that, it's not very fun. It's, there's a lot of theft. There's a lot of crime. So they stole my Denali. And I remember that caused a big effect because that was my biggest accomplishment at that time. I think I was 18 at that time.
Yeah.
And when they stole it, I knew that I had to leave the hood.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
And once again, my mother, she came to visit. One of her friends that she actually helped buy a home, she told her, hey, this is how you do it. They both worked at the same job. And her friend bought a home in Compton. And, it was a humble home. And then she sold it. And then she bought herself a 3,600 square foot home here in San Antonio for like $170 at that time.
Right.
And it was, ridiculous. So we came to visit her. And when my mother saw that her friend that she helped buy a home in Compton bought this humongous home for $170, we're like, oh my God, we have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And we did.
Wow.
So San Antonio was the very first place that we came to visit. We knew we wanted to live in Texas, but we just didn't know where.
Sure.
And when we saw that, how much home you could buy,
yeah,
we jumped right in. And, with my work history that I had, I was able to purchase my first home too. I started building it. And then when I moved down here, I already had a job offer. Mm-hmm. I started working for the builder that I bought the home from. So once again, I was 19.
Wow.
And then why did my boss hire me? I came in and I remember like the VP had like a really, really old phone. And they asked me on the spot to sell him something. And I saw his brick phone and I'm like, he needs a phone. And then I just started selling him on why he needed, a smartphone. And once again, they hired me. So that specific manager right now, he's still in the industry. Tony Serna, I owe him a lot. Mm-hmm. He's actually the VP for Lennar Homes now.
Okay.
So I started working with the builder called Fieldstone Homes. And my career just kind of took off. Once again, it was 2008. Everyone's struggling. The builders are closing. Yeah. And then here comes this little 19-year-old. And stops killing it. Becomes top producer very, very quickly. And it was a lot of success at a very young age.
That's wild. So you grew up really fast. I mean, obviously you have your mom's work ethic. Like you said, she was working multiple jobs, getting by, and then she bought a house and, took the next step and did all that. So you've been working your tail off. You talked about having early success when people were talking about closing their doors and all that. What do you attribute your success to? Let's talk about those early stages of new home sales specifically.
Okay. Well, at that time, I was one of the youngest people in new home sales. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had MySpace. I had, I don't think Facebook was even around yet. And I just started posting and, I remember I didn't really know how to do the contract. My very first, I think it was the second day that I was on the floor, I sold a home. And my partner hadn't sold a home in 3-4 months. So they saw that, I could really close. I was very aggressive. But, over time, I have changed my style, right? Sure. Yeah. But I really paid attention to what the issue at hand was. Like, maybe it was my background with the mortgage, so I would make them feel comfortable. Like, we could offer you a credit repair. We could offer you a first-time home buyer program, down payment assistance, etc. Yeah. And a lot of people didn't really take the time to understand their finances or just the root of the pain, what's going on in their specific situation. Yeah. So I'm very strictly business, but I do get personal when it comes to what is making you really buy this home. Yeah. Once again, the builder did end up closing, and then I ended up transferring to KB Home. And then I had like a little, maybe all the sales and all the trophies got to my head. Yeah. So life had to humble me a little bit. I did go through a divorce at that time. I was about 22 when life just kind of changed for me. Yeah. And then I started going from builder to builder. But every builder I went to, it was, I was top sales. Yeah. And I became very transactional because I always had so much business right in front of me. I never really had to do any marketing or any of that because the builder was doing that for me. But I was noticing that I was getting a lot of referrals even when, my other peers were not. And that's maybe it was my Spanish. I was very it was not very common that people spoke as articulate as I did in Spanish, because Spanish is my first language, and it's a lot better than my English, I promise.
You're doing great.
Thank you. So I just kept getting a lot of referrals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you touched on a couple of great points there. Ninja Selling talks about being a listener and finding their pain and pleasure points.
Right.
Why are you buying this house? Why do you need to? You know, and it sounds like you did a great job of really listening and finding solutions.
Right.
Is really what this business is about.
Right.
You know, it's not necessarily like this is the best house on the market and you got to buy this particular house and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then, of course, referrals came because they felt like they were heard.
Right.
You know, and they felt like you took care of them. And then all of a sudden it started just piling up.
Yeah, I'm very authentic, and I like to keep it real with whatever their situation is. So if they would come in and they had champagne taste beer budget, I mean, I would tell them, like, this is why it's not going to happen.
Keeping it real.
Right. I just kept it real, and I solved their issue, and they appreciated that because I was not there to waste their time. And then they were very happy. A lot of times they, I told them, this is just your first home. And I would share my story. I bought my first home when I was 19. Right. And now I've been able to move up and just, breaking it down to the ridiculous of what real estate really does. Is not, just your forever home. You have to really work those numbers and build equity and move on and just become lifetime investors. And I have a lot of repeat clients because of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So did you feel like you did back then, like, follow up with those past clients? Like, let's say you were transactional. You closed the deal, you took care of them, and you worked the deal, you closed the deal. Did you continue to follow up and build those relationships up, or was it just...
Okay, I know a lot of people get with me with this because I know you're supposed to follow up. But I was always so busy.
Yeah.
People were calling me. They were so pleased that they always came back to me. So I never really had to follow up. They were following up with me.
Sure.
Like I said, my style has changed. Obviously, now I have a team. So now I want to nurture those relationships and not be transactional because I need them to refer for my whole team now.
Yeah.
So my style has definitely changed, but
as it should. I mean, you grow and you learn, and for sure.
Yeah, but even though I was very transactional, they appreciated me and they remembered me forever. Like when I was not very, I wouldn't go out to the movies with them or hang out and have a drink. I was always very professional. When they thought about real estate, they thought about Vilma. She took good care of me. Yeah. No one has ever tried to sue or be disappointed. I've never been in any kind of trouble with any clients because I've always, just
you've taken care of them. Yeah, you took care of them. You treated them well, and that's what people remember the most is how you treated them.
Right.
And so obviously you did a very good job of that.
Right.
And just compiled. So that's awesome. I mean, that's a great story. What was your favorite part of new home sales?
My favorite part, just working in the team environment, having to go to those meetings and just learning from my supervisors, the managers, all the closing techniques, just learning how to role play and just all the dimensions of just sales. But I think that was it. And just working with people, just having the opportunity to solve any of the issues and just really allow them to grow equity and build a future for themselves. And it made me feel good and made me sleep very well at night knowing that I was truly helping someone, either with their credit or with whatever situation that they had to get out of.
Yeah. Another question I have about the new home sales, you talked about learning a lot, being around the team, learning about sales. It sounds like you were around great builders that taught that at a high level. What would you say is one of the main things that you took away from your new home sales that you have kind of implemented into your real estate business?
I think now, like I said, it's just the team team environment, just the corporate, because
supporting.
Yeah, because as realtors, we're entrepreneurs. You make your own schedule. You could slack off if you want to, and I didn't want to be an agent because I felt like I probably would because I was so tired of working every single day, every single weekend, every single holiday. Yeah. So I felt like I needed time off. So I, in the beginning, I didn't hit the ground running, but I did. Like, I didn't try. I think my first week when I got my license, I already had like 7 clients lined up.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I sold 61 homes my very first year.
How did
without
you do
trying,
that?
Without
Just referrals.
Exactly. All I did is I just, I created a post saying I am a real estate agent now. I could help you with any real estate need. Yep. Not just with this specific builder anymore. So let me know, or tell your family, your friends, and they did.
I mean, at that point, how many years approximately were you in specifically new home sales in San Antonio?
In San Antonio, 12 years.
12 years.
Yes.
So, I mean, you had done a lot of transactions. You had quite a bit of past clients.
I've done my math, and I've sold about 2,000 homes in San Antonio. And I haven't really opened up that gold, the pot of gold yet.
Right.
Because I'm just now getting my systems like I've never had to. I could not keep up. So now that I have a team, I have 23 agents. Now I have to go back and really find all those people and get other systems in place to attract. So now that's why we're doing this video, and I'm on social media doing all the stuff I never had to do before to feed my team.
I'm guessing when you're in new home sales, some of those systems are already in place. And you're just like plug and play type of thing. So now when you're on your own, you're like, I got to create that. I got to do that. Yeah.
So another little testimony, one of the online sales reps for Lennar Homes is now assisting me with my online leads.
Okay.
So she's just calling and following up with agents and with clients and converting over. So that was something I learned there. Hey, they have this process, and I need to do the same if I'm going to be my own CEO.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. We kind of covered all that. Let's talk about your sales business. You were extremely busy in new home sales. You're like, God, I just want a breather, right? And we'll talk about more of that when we get into the team stuff. But what was your day-to-day, week-to-week? You didn't really have systems in place, but you knew you had 7 clients already lined up, but you got to keep it going. Right, because you don't know when that next client is coming up. Obviously, you were fortunate enough to have quite a bit of past clients that referred you. But what about, how did you go find more business? Or did it just come to you?
It kind of does just come to me, but now, like I said, now that I have a team, I've had to implement systems. I've purchased Redx. I also have Follow-Up Boss now. Okay. And, we have great systems through EXP. EXP was a game changer for me because I came into real estate thinking I was going to finally have a weekend off, and that was not happening. And when I saw the exit strategy that EXP offers and the ability to help others get to where I'm at and teach them and also get rewarded for your efforts on that, that was a game changer for me. So when I started, when I got my license, I started with RE/MAX, and then I felt like I was going to be doing the same thing or more than I was in new home sales. So that was not going to work out. But as soon as I saw the EXP model, everything changed. But I'm a creature of habit. I continue to sell and sell. I'm like, okay, then I'm going to just die selling. And then I realized, no, I need to slow down. So I'm working on my third icon. I think I should have already gotten it, but because I had to finally take a breather, slow down, and really focus on what I really want in my future, and that is to have like a team, organization, and to really be international. And I know that I was not going to be able to get there by myself. So EXP just opened my eyes to just building and helping other people, and all the systems that are already in place with EXP make it so much easier for me to be a team leader. They do all the accounting, the payroll, it's all taken care of for me, so I don't have to sit there and hire someone else to do all this. So that's why I'm able to afford to only charge my team 10%. And then they get all the knowledge from a top producer, so it's nothing, because with EXP, they're already on the 80-20. I'm not the type of person that wants to milk people or for their money. Like I was doing it for free anyway before I did the team. People were calling me that were not in my downline, and I was giving them all this free help, taking a lot of my time. And then I realized I have to just do this team thing, figure it all out, and that's what I've been doing.
Okay, well, awesome. So talk about what your day-to-day, week-to-week look like. I know that you're working on some things today. here in the office. What does that look like now that you're in a team lead position?
Well, let me go backwards a little bit.
Sure.
So as soon as I've only been a realtor 3.5 years, and then I told you I was divorced, right? Mm-hmm. Then I got married to my same, guy, my ex. So we were,
back.
yes. So 10 years we're separated. Then we got back together. We actually got married at EXPCon.
Oh, that's cool.
And the next day he got a job offer as a loan officer for the Bank of England mortgage. And I thought that was absolutely insane. I never thought he was going to take on that job. He was more in the IT field. But he did, and he loves it. So that kind of changed my schedule because we have 4 children. So now we take turns coming to the office. So I'm at the office Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Fridays I do a lot of events, or I go to any kind of networking. Yeah. So for 3 days a week I am at the office. Okay. Or doing some kind of real estate activity. Anything else, I take care of my own leads. I still take on some because I still have to cap. Mm-hmm. So I focus at home on calling my clients and taking care of my personal sales.
Right.
So 3 days out of the week, but one of my goals was to not work on Sunday, so I don't, and I tell people, I'm sorry, like I want to rest on the Sabbath, and I don't.
Yeah.
So if they have to go see a home, I'll send one of my team members who does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I've realized that I had to slow down.
Sure.
That's been my hardest thing to do because I'm a go type of person, 100 miles an hour.
Since 16 years old.
Right. So to me now, it's like, no, I need to really focus on my family, which was that caused a lot of the issues that I had, that I was always working. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm able to be flexible, we're home more with the children, going to church together. So it's been a great help because before with new home sales, you don't have to have a real estate license to sell homes. And we were also allowed to talk about finances. We talked about rates. We did everything because that's how new home sales is. You get them pre-qualified. You help them with the application. And now that my husband is a loan officer, I've had to stop trying to do that because now it's illegal because I'm licensed.
Right.
And let him do it. And then I focus on the sales side.
Good.
So I still get to do what I used to, but just now I have him doing it. And I still get to be, involved, but not, hands-on.
Being able to balance that has been super important.
Right. It's been super important and super helpful for him to be, just calling the clients, talking about rates and loan programs, and I no longer have to explain that to the clients.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's awesome, having that team member at home with you.
Exactly.
And be able to bounce that off.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. What would you say drives, now we've kind of transitioned into the team stuff, what drives the team's business? You said that you bought Red X. Y'all calling expires for sale by owners?
Yes,
what are y'all
some
doing?
of my agents are calling expires. We have Red X. We have follow-up. So a lot of the leads are also just coming through my website. We have a team website.
Okay.
And they come from Instagram, from Facebook.
Is that like Google? I mean, it's
also
just out
Google
there.
ads everywhere. Yes.
So you are putting money into advertising and pushing it out there. Okay.
And then all of them are on round robin, and they just follow up with whatever lead comes in. Mm-hmm.
Right on. So we talked a little bit about the lending. Let's talk about the team. Because when did you start the team?
So I've had the team for about 7 months.
Yeah.
And we sold 93 transactions, about 22 mil in 7 months. Jeez. And that's with me winging it. I just now getting my system. So I know that once I have the foundation laid, then this is going to skyrocket. I haven't even opened my gold pot yet.
Yeah. All those past clients.
Right. I haven't even opened them yet. Right now I'm still working on just the foundation.
Yeah.
But what I noticed that one of the mistakes I did start investing in a lot of leads.
Yeah.
About $1,500 worth every month, and then nobody was calling them. Then I realized they don't even know what to say. So I had to take a step back, and that's what I'm working on now. So right now, for example, we have a coming class of role playing, how to talk to clients, walking through the model home with them, so they could feel comfortable, because if not, I'm just wasting my money. So right now to just really get them educated. So I've been focusing more on, instead of just throwing leads at them, focusing more on educating them first before they could actually handle, my personal referrals or any,
Are you leading those education
Yes,
classes?
I lead some of those, and
Yeah.
I also have a lot of help from title companies,
Yeah.
mortgage companies, so a lot of builders. I have a lot of friends in the builder industry,
Right.
and then they just kind of shadow them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a one-man show here. It's
Yeah.
all of us. Yeah.
Okay.
We all kind of, help with whatever strengths we have.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you're talking to an agent that's not on the team yet, and maybe you're trying to get them to join the team, what is your elevator pitch? What is attracting them to your team? Because you've had quite a bit of growth in 7 months.
Right. I haven't. I've never called anyone.
Yeah.
I've never told them like, hey, come to join my team. I don't have any recruiting tools in place. I need to start getting those if I'm going to really be international, right? But they've all came to me. They all had some kind of issues. So I do accept agents who are not necessarily in my downline.
Okay.
So something happened with whoever sponsored them, and they just kind of left them hanging. They have no idea what was going on or what they're doing. And so I noticed that EXP is a very, very fast car. And if you don't know how to drive it, you're going to wreck. So
I like that.
yeah, so then I realized I'm used to it. That's my speed. I love it.
Yeah.
But now that I'm talking to new agents, they don't even know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to really hold their hand in the beginning to just give them that confidence to talk to people and to figure out the problem and just to have a process in place and just to rely on me or rely on, I also have a mentor in the team. Her name is Veronica. She is an icon agent. And to just, not be afraid to ask questions and to just be involved. A lot of them are part-time agents, and I believe that's a lot harder. Most teams don't accept part-time agents because, then you're kind of carrying the weight of them not really being here or repeating yourself. But I've realized I'm here to help everybody, and it is what it is. They could come into the class. If they could make it or they can't, they can't. But I didn't want to push them to the limit of where they can't even do real estate because they feel they have to do it full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Again, going back to the core of everything that you've done from day one is help people and find the pain, find the pleasure, even if they're not in your downline. I'm going to help you. This is how we're going to help it, and that's why you've been so successful.
Yeah,
it's just giving back, and you receive.
Yeah, giving back for sure, and I think it's all God. I think this is all God's plan because most of the agents that are coming to me, they don't really have issues like getting leads. Or mainly training, because there's a lot of training online too, with the university and with EXP. They never click on the videos, but it's more like a spiritual issue or a mental issue or some kind of issue that they have at home or with someone. So once again, building that foundation to see where they're lacking. Are you lacking in finances? Are you lacking? Is it education? Is it confidence? What is the problem? So I do host a Bible study, and most of my team members do attend. And we've resolved a lot of those issues, and I call it like breaking generational curses. My motto is more like mind, body, and soul. So I feel like with the mind, I got that, here with all the education that we do with real estate. With the soul part, I attribute all my success to God. So my motto here is Colossians 3:23. Like, I work for the Lord, not for human masters. And I take that very serious. So I kind of just let him guide me on what he wants me to do with that specific person, even though that specific person doesn't even know yet, doesn't even see it. So it's like a vision of the future of what that person needs to go through or what curse they have to break to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And they can't see that, but because I see it with my spiritual eyes, I tell them. Sometimes they get offended, but then they realize, you were right.
Yeah, very rarely wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been helping a lot to just really get connected as a team and bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm really glad you shared that.
Yes,
that's very
of
cool.
course.
It's very unique, I would say, in this industry, but it's made a massive impact.
Yeah. So like I've shared before, and people they don't get it. Like I say, tithing. You must tithe. So a lot of my agents who, are brand new, they lost their previous jobs, they don't have any savings, they get a commission, then they go spend it and they don't tithe, then I'm not expecting them to ever, be top producers. I'm not saying they can't, because they could, right? No. But I believe that God will bless them with just that little 10% that they give. So I tell them that. Some of them are just now starting to do it. But I believe that, God moves mountains with just that 10%, but you have to have faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
And when you see the results, then they get the confidence.
Yeah.
And you don't do it just because you want something back. God loves a cheerful giver. And I believe that, they're still working on that. But when they get to that level, then, they're going to just blow up. Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I did have a kind of off-topic question about what you said. Talking to people. So you said a lot of agents struggle in talking to people and just communicating. Mm-hmm. How do y'all talk to people? How do you talk to people? Are you hitting the phones and calling people? Do you do a lot of text messages? This isn't a class that I did yesterday, but it was a question that we were talking about. A lot of people like to text. Are you a texter? Are you a caller? Are you a Facebook messenger? What do you do?
I'm a caller, but I realize that most people are now just texting. But a lot of times, because I'm so blunt, that it could get, they could confuse what I'm trying to say. I'm like, it's not in all caps.
Yeah.
So
Stop yelling at me.
Yeah. So I text, and then I just follow up with the call so they can understand what I'm really trying to say, because I love AI, but sometimes it does make you feel very robotic. And I like to be very personal, with them. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That kind of wraps up my questions that I had for you. There's so many great information that you shared. I really appreciate it. What would you say is, like, for the agents that's struggling, or the new agent that's still trying to find their way and get consistent with their business, what would you say is the one or two takeaways that you're like, man, if you really focus on this and really do these one or two things, it's really going to help you?
Yeah, I think I kind of already said it. As long as you have your mind, body, and soul aligned, I think, like I said, I do a very good job with the mind and the soul. The body, though, no, I don't. I don't like to work out. So I was looking for the next leader who was going to lead us within the team to do more fitness stuff. Thank God finally somebody did step up in that area, and she's leading us into Get Fit. That's cool. So I think as long as you have a good balance of everything, you'll be fine. And then with the recruiting part, no, you don't have to be pushy. People will come to you because they know that you're someone that God has put in their life to help them, and just being genuine with them. So for those new agents, is to not be salesy, to not be pushy, to truly, really care for that client, to get referrals, to build investors, build your repeat clients. So if you're not going to really take care of that client, if you're going to half-butt it, then you're never going to get more from that same seed. So just continue watering all those seeds. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, ask any more questions about real estate or the International Group, V-International Group, how could they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
We do have a team website, so www.V-InternationalRealtyGroup.com.
Okay.
And you'll find all the agents there, and there's tools for applying for mortgages, for credit repair. There's tools just for rent to own, just about us. And then also Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. I started doing those. I hate video, and now here I am.
Yeah, you're doing great.
This is what it takes, right? This is what I have to do. These are the growing pains.
Exactly. Get out of your comfort zone.
Correct. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I do. Like, I'm a risk taker. Even if I don't know how to do something, I'm still going to do it.
You'll figure it out.
I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to sit there and wait for somebody to come and babysit me or push me. I have to just get it done and just say a prayer, and I did it. So it's that confidence,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, you're amazing. And this is like our first time ever talking. I see you
Right,
at all
it
the
is.
events. And I thank you for sharing all the information that you did.
Of
Lots of
course.
great nuggets that we could take away. And so, guys, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to share with a friend. Leave us a review. Give us a rating. That really helps us grow the show as well. Join our private Facebook group called The Productive Agents. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we thank you for joining us today. Thank you once again.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
And let's get out there and go produce.
Woo.